Yes. So there's a lot of cases that are out there that are THC, those kind of cases
Might need
where
to lower that a little bit.
brownies, things like that have like marijuana butter and things like that are felonies, but they are, and if you don't know what that is, they put the THC in the butter to make the brownie so you get high by eating cookies and things like that. Those are felonies. Those are felony cases right now under Texas law. Many times these are by kids who are very young, who have just started their work careers, who are experimenting, and what they need is a slap on the hand as opposed to high-level drug dealers. It's really not the same thing. So we're trying to find a way to give them a second chance. And what we have found is that the kid in college, that person is usually they messed up, they are going to be having a degree, they're going to have a chance to kind of come back and make this up. But the person that's in a work position right now, who just graduated high school, who didn't have enough money to go to college, who's out there in the job market right there, and then they get a conviction like this, that really sets them back a lot further, because that job that job means more to them at that point in time, because they can really do something. They don't have a degree to fall back on. So it helps both the person in college, but also the person who's just getting out and getting into the workforce to keep that job that they have. And if they because it's expunged everywhere else, they're able to start clean. However, we know if they reoffend. So if they reoffend, they come back to us, then they don't start back with another pre-trial diversion. You had your shot, we have those records, and then we go from there. And if they reoffend or they flunk out of the program, they already have a confession. So we use that confession and we just go forward with our particular case. So it's a carrot and stick approach.
Do we have any idea, I'm certain, I would think that there's similar cases to this in the county attorney's office or misdemeanors. Do we have any idea where the county attorney is and whether he has any kind of...
I asked way back when I first started this program, because it's a little bit dicey at first. I didn't know whether to do it or not. And so I asked the previous county attorney if he wanted to go in on that particular program, because there's a ton of marijuana cases and things like that. He didn't want to do that at that point in time. He was in his last administration. I have not really followed back up with Earl on that, whether they want to start that program. My guess, and I don't want to speak for him, but my guess is that there are a ton of low-level drug cases that are marijuana cases that are down there. There's more cases down there than there are up here in my office. So there's a ton of cases down there. Now, whether he decides to do one or not, I don't know. But yes.
That said, if it would be possible if the county attorney were interested in a program like that, for the two departments to work together on a...
I'm game for that. Absolutely, yeah. So to try to work and try to do both of those cases. I mean, it's going to be a lot. If they wanted to do it, it's going to be a lot of cases. So it's going to be a whole lot of cases.
Okay.
So people like their weed. So yeah.
Nina or Katie, I know the ask is for $665,986. What's the current budget of the DA's office?
Current budget?
It's 4.7.
4.7.
4.7 million.
4.7
I
mil.
trained him when he walked in.
He's been prompted.
So as a percentage, that's more than a 10% increase.
Going for yes, and remember, 3 of those positions are grant funded.
The majority, the vast majority of the funding change is moving things from grant funding to general fund, which is what happens with grants. That's the same.
They run out.
It's the same thing that we'll be looking at, when we consider other types of grants of every time. You have to build in the need to be able to self-fund.
After you start the program.
Yes.
Especially with personnel. It's hard to receive a grant and promise that grant to staff salaries and benefits, knowing that it's going to expire sometime. That's the scary part, because either let it go or we continue funding it with the county funds.
I know that's one of the things we dealt with the health district is we're more and more grant funded oriented, but part of our employment with people at the health district is conditioned upon, they know when they're hired that this is grant funded, and if the grant funds aren't there, their position is subject to I think when you can contrast that with what you're talking about here, and the question is, hey, this is working or it's not working. Do we continue and we bring it in-house? And that's the real question. This is, do we bring it in-house or not?
Yeah, has the program been successful, which I think it has been, and is it a huge
Yeah.
benefit to victims and
It's victims, and it's, I mean, we work with the hospital staffs. I mean, we do a lot of different things, a lot of different places to train the judges. I mean, we joke that our crime against women prosecutor runs probation and the jail because they immediately call her when there's a question about bond conditions. And then she is on her phone number is accessible to all the police officers on domestic violence cases. So we have an on-call number that they call for regular things, and then she is available 24/7 for domestic violence related things. And she's done that on her own just because it's that important to her, but she's that knowledgeable. There are multiple agencies that would try to steal her in a heartbeat because of the knowledge that she has attained, and they're very good, as well as the investigator that's on the case as well. 20-year veteran, 15-year veteran prosecutor, 25-year veteran investigator on those cases, and they're working here in this area, doing good work for us. So,
okay. All right.
all right.
Judge, we still have a lot more to go through today. What I'd like to do is maybe take a 5-minute break,
I
recess.
think that's a good idea.
Oh, it's in here.
Line up trading place. It's one of my favorites.
It's in come back. They may not come back.
They may not come back.
Commissioner, I heard that you sat next to me, prosecutor at Newsies. At Newsies.
I know
ready?
y'all are tired.
Okay.
I am too. But,
I'm getting a second wind here.
second win? Oh, did you eat chocolate? Okay. So,
No,
yeah, where?
Had
Yeah.
an energetic conversation with our district attorney.
And it didn't have anything to do with budget either, and that makes it even better. Okay, so I don't know if y'all remember, the total request were 4.2 million. So for personnel, so what I did was I took that Now why did that change again, Nina? It balanced earlier. Am I on the right? Yeah, okay. It's now at $4,211,830. And, no, it did change from the one I had yesterday. I had 29 positions. Anyway, estimates. So I changed it, reorganized, and split up some of the numbers. So for these departments, these changes are just reclassifications, title changes, deletions, and salary increases. These are not new positions. They are not anything else. Those all, you'll notice there's at least 1 0 in here for human resources. There's the negatives. I assume that we would want to go ahead and take advantage of the negatives. Let's see, except for Road and Bridge, because I separated that one out. That one's a little bit of a different theory. But this theory, the theory behind this group is things that you can do. They're delete to create. They're not requests for 100% funding for a totally new position. They include the reclassifications from the jail and the SO and the jail medical. They include the salary increases. That's not right. Salary increases for, hold on, something's bothering me. Where's the one I had yesterday? Okay. This number is pretty good. These are just all what I'm missing. I thought I separated out the constables, their salary increases. No, I didn't. Oh, it's the JPs. That's what it was. Delete to create. Just, this is what I was looking for. Just the salary increases on the JPs. That's one section for a total of $669,253. Road and Bridge, to reduce their funding, basically those positions down to, yes, we're keeping the position, but 0 funding. That would decrease the budget by 124. Again, that is a hopefully a temporary, as in 1 year. I don't even know. I mean, it's been several years since they've been able to fill those positions. I don't know that they'll be able to fill them this next year.
So those would be budget amendments as needed, and
As the-
funding would come from contingency.
Yes.
Okay.
Then the third section is reducing positions to create an additional position, because I look at those a little different. Elections was to get rid of their temp, part-time, to create a full-time, and also reduce the Brazos voting contract. Human Resources, it's because she wants to fund the position for 6 months, it's not a full, it is it's one full-time equivalent, but not the full price tag
Right.
for the whole year. Now, full price tag would hit next year. And then the Expo, they wanted to delete temporaries to create part-times. And that's what this subtotal, 93,059. Funding change. Here's an easy one. I'm sorry.
Can we,
I'll
while
slow
we're
down.
on that, okay. As I understood it correctly, the elections administrator, that was an offset for $100,000 annual expense for Texas voting systems?
Yes, but it won't take effect until January or later,
Okay.
because November, there's no way to get this
All right, yeah, I
person
just
in and
wanted to-
trained.
So that.
It may not be a total offset, because I know that they have to, they rent a van or something to haul the equipment. Even though we may have an employee, we'll probably have to do
I
something
would think it
to-
would be, yeah.
You know, there's probably gonna be some
There
other,
is.
it won't be 100% right, right.
That's why I didn't take the,
Yeah.
we haven't taken the reduction in the expense. We probably will decrease that expense, because that's in the
Okay,
operations.
Would it be?
But it depends on
well,
what
if
you
it's a-
decide
if it's-
here.
If it's 100,000 or determination, would it be, just from my way of
Mhm.
thinking about that position, would it be appropriate to think that 100,000, that 54%, 54.5% of that would probably be accounted for in some other area. Okay, I mean, so that 54,507 would probably be accounted for in the reduction. More,
The
at
reduction
least
would be
that- at least that
approximately
amount.
100, and it would probably drop down to 75 if you counted renting a van
Okay.
and all that. So the 54 is just the position.
Right.
It doesn't include any ancillary costs due to us not having a van.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I don't, and then plus, of course, elections is also, renting the facilities is a little bit up in the air right now.
Correct. Thanks.
Funding change, this was the one where we want to change the funding of the assistant for the guardianship in, that's split between County Court at Law 1 and 2. To me, it's an easy one. It has no effect. It just has a little bit of a funding effect. But we wanted to go ahead and present it. The next one is changing funding from 2 courts, basically creating a whole position and moving this funding up here to County Court at Law 1. So then we would end up with a clerk in County Court at Law 1, serving County Court at Law 1 for guardianships and probates, and one for County Court at Law 2, serving guardianships and probates. Are we following so far?
Gotcha.
Okay. Grant funded, Jarvis's, 3 positions, $368,274. I wanted to go ahead and separate that from the new positions. Then here is all of our new position requests. Total, let me make sure. Oh, I can't read it. Does it still say 311 down there? No, I can't make it. What does that say? What does this number say? Can you read it over there? Does it say 3,132,000? I just want to make sure it does right. Thank you, Trevor. Give me some eyeballs.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So the new positions do add up to 3,132,000. I'm always checking formulas.
On the sheet that I've got, that's 3,207,000.
That's what I was afraid of. That's the expo, that's that event coordinator position. Understood. Let's continue with estimates if we may.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. What I wanted to do is see if you could at least prioritize these sections and then maybe establish a priority within those sections. For example, we have this meeting, just as a note, we have this meeting, we have one July 5th, we have one July 19th, and then the tax rate's here. We're going to have another timing issue with debt that what it boils down to is I'm going to need something from you deciding whether the way the debt tax rate is calculated after I went to class, there's a number we have to put in for unencumbered fund balance. We have about $7 million in there, total fund balance, but only $2 million can be considered encumbered because we have to keep 2% of the original issue amount in fund balance by our bond covenants. So we promised the people that we sold our bonds to, we would keep at least 2% in there. So we have to keep 2. That's the encumbered balance. That leaves 5 unencumbered. If I certify to the tax assessor collector that $5 million is unencumbered, she's going to use that to reduce our debt service tax rate. A lot.
Yeah.
Okay?
5
Or,
million out of 98 million was our total, so.
I knew you were going to get me.
Okay, anyway, it's a big chunk.
Because yes.
Okay.
It is a big chunk. Or we can defease it, which is where we take that $5 million and we pay off debt. That's the easiest way to describe it. Defeasance, it has to leave our hands, so we put it in an escrow. We have called the 2017 bonds, certificates of obligation, are callable September 1st of 2022. The interest is from 2 to 5% on those, depending on, because they're staggered. I have Public Financial Management and Winstead coming on July 19th. But I have to certify it by July 15th. I've got an issue. So I am willing to certify that you're going to defease $5 million if I can get an indication from Commissioner's Court. It's either defease it or have the debt service drop way down and possibly have to come back up again next year.
I'm for defeasing it.
It seems, I mean, you're paying off debt, so eventually it pays off the debt service rate anyway.
Where would we be relative to that on
Oh, I knew you were going to ask.
escrowing and current rates of escrow that are higher probably than what our interest rate was if we escrow in treasuries?
Well, wouldn't they use that interest to pay off the debt?
Okay.
If it has to come out of our hands, the
Okay.
interest is going away too.
Gotcha. If it goes, okay, if it has to stay in debt service, but that we wouldn't be in a violation situation there where we had arbitrage.
I don't think so. Not once we've escrowed it. That's
Okay.
that's the key part to it. And y'all's, because there's a resolution you'll have to pass.
Yeah.
Which there's no way I can have it. I don't think it'll be ready until July 19th. So I'm running a 4-day risk. You know, I take my dice out every once in a while and see what happens.
No, I'm not gonna be here on the 19th. I told Nina that
And
after
that's-
the first of the year.
That's fine. I mean, that's why I'm kind of verbally going it over with you now. I will probably do it again on July 5th because I need a temperature from
Right.
Commissioner's Court before I certify.
Right.
Okay?
Temperature is good.
To defease.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would rather be able to, for looking at what we've got moving forward potential, I'd rather have the ability to be able to, I'd rather have the ability to be able to maintain our debt service rate where it is.
Steady.
Yes,
Yes.
please.
I agree. Okay.
Okay. I don't know what everybody else's thoughts are, but that's where I am.
So what I want to try to do, I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but is can we do any kind of prioritization? Assuming a 7.5% COLA and a 1% merit is first priority, and a no new revenue tax rate is first priority. So what does that mean? That means some of this will be coming out of fund balance. However, in 21-22, just to note, we budgeted to use $27 million of fund balance. Last year, the unencumbered, unreserved fund balance was estimated to be $65 million, and now it's up to $80 million. I'm getting closer to the mic because fund balance is not going down. I want to understand that. 3 months worth of expenditures is about $36 million. We do it's a balancing act. Excuse me. It's a balance between one-time expenditures versus ongoing expenditures. But we're by budgeting $27 million in fund balance, we were budgeting, there's going to be a lot. I mean, I'm still estimating $80 million. So it went up $15 million between one year to the next. That's more than the 6.6 projected. You see what I'm saying? So your fund balance has gone up unreserved, unrestricted every year I've been here. And now we're at 80 million. So I don't know that to achieve the objectives that you seem to want to achieve are doable. How much will go into fund balance? That's the choices. And this is a good start.
Well, my thought on unreserved, unrestricted fund balance is we're holding on to taxpayers' money, and we ought to get that money doing what we have asked taxpayers to have that money for, to do things. I mean, sitting on a fund balance. I mean, we ought to either
can fund roads
lower
with
the
it.
tax rate until we catch up if we've got that, and if we feel comfortable with what that is. That's my opinion.
Well, and if you think about it, if an $80 million fund balance, we need about $40 million while I never hope this to happen, if something happens to the tax office in November or December, we would have the funds to, and we made it through COVID, guys. I'm not trying to be ugly as much as you can plan for extremes, but I think COVID was kind of an extreme as it was. We didn't get as much work done,
Yeah.
But money-wise, you know,
Would that
We're okay.
include the capital budget?
which part?
Okay,
The 27 million or the 80 million?
what would we encumber the unencumbered, unreserved balance by for capital for what the capital requirement is?
The requests this year for capital are 12 million. Does that help?
Okay, so,
That's not including what projects that we've already budgeted for
Right.
and started.
correct.
So it won't be just 12 million budgeted out of fund balance. It might be more something like, how much are we rolling so far? We've got several big projects rolling. So I would say another 10 million in projects being rolled just off the top of my head, because we got the road and bridge, vehicles, some other JP1, courthouse security, huh? Jail kitchen. I will tell you that for some reason that I'm not aware of, although I suspect I know what it was, there was 2.8 million budgeted in 21-22 for Oracle. I don't need that. Okay, so that,
Okay.
I mean, I'll play a game, you know. I'll give you 2, you let me keep the 8 to see where we go. I'm because it's computer consulting that we're working through now. Does that help?
Sure.
I don't know why it was there,
Yeah, I
other
just
than maybe
wanted
they
to- I
felt
just
that
wanted to
Oracle
know
was going to
what
fail.
I mean, I really appreciate knowing what the unencumbered, unreserved fund balances are and that they're increasing and where we are relative to that. But I also wanted to include capital in there too.
And that's the balance between how much, I mean, because traditionally we fund capital, which the request this year is 12,
Right.
out of fund
Unreserved,
balance. If
unrequired.
we've got 80, we've gone up 15, you could probably use some fund balance to continue, you know, because the whole point of fund
Yeah.
balance being savings. When do you use your savings? Why do you have a savings? You can't take it with you. It's got to be to make it over the bumps,
Well,
right?
It's taxpayers' money that we're not
And that's,
using.
and yes, and we want to
should
show.
be using the money that we asked.
Yes, and there's one, I mean, the one-time cost, juveniles piping issue, we still don't have an answer for that. I mean, capital starts next week, and there'll be many, many more questions. So if we can come up with some kind of priority, it would help us get, again, there's only 2 more commissioners' court meetings before the tax rate may come in. Well, I'm not going to hold Christie to that, but by August 7th. And I think there's several people, at least I know one that will probably be in and out in August, one of y'all.
When will I have certified?
Certified July 25th.
July 25th.
But she has by statute until August 7th, give or take, to come up with the no new revenue and the voter approved rates.
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
Anybody
so-
going
so-
once on
So you're saying the priorities would be 7.5% plus a 1%
merit
merit.
and no
And
new revenue rate?
No new revenue rate as the second priority, and
That still leaves us the 2 million in new property plus
Okay.
fund balance. However, whatever level y'all want to go.
okay, and here's where we start working on that.
Yeah, on the 2 million and the fund balance.
Okay.
Does that help?
This part right here is holding up merit. In order for the departments to look at merit, in order for some departments to look at merit, say for instance the SO, the jail, they will have to hold on to it till there's an answer regarding their classifications, just because it will affect how they roll out. If we wait till we get closer to proposal, they will not be able to disperse their merit how they see fit until we have answers.
The other consideration, and I'm just going to throw this out here because I can. So we have 154 open positions this year. We had 113 last year. When it comes to the bottom part of this chart, the new positions, I don't know, and nobody knows, that we should or could fill new positions when they're still can't fill our existing positions. It's a balance. It's a balance, exactly. And again, we've talked before about traditionally, y'all add 9 positions. I'm trying to, you know, however many feet up you want to call it. Unfortunately, I know that everybody has their concerns or things that they really think that we should do. And so I'd like to see if we couldn't prioritize these. Can we maybe give direction to go ahead and do all the reclassifications, title changes, deletions, and salaries for 600? Now you'll notice, we previously talked about the Veterans Office, and we sorry, I don't want you to think I pulled a fast one. And we previously talked about county judge, and we previously talked about commissioners, and who else? Oh, emergency management. I took that all off the table and separated it differently, okay? Because Expo, for example, is on 4 different of these because they've got 4 different things they want to do. One is changing temporaries to part-times, another is raises, another is new position, and I don't even remember what and then on the new position it's increasing one position from part-time to full-time. That's 4 different things going on. We had 1 total, now you've got 4 totals so that you can kind of pick and choose. Does that make sense? But also maybe be consistent a little bit.
At what point do you think we could start picking and choosing?
Well, today, if you want to go ahead and help me prioritize these categories, do you think, I mean, obviously we could say, the easy one is that the funding changes, yes, go ahead and put that in the proposed. Because it's a zero,
Net.
cost zero, yes. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll go ahead and put that one in. What is the next one? Do you think the reclassifications, which are, yes, holding up merit, are more important or more of a priority than reducing positions to create additional positions? I mean, because I put them in the order, I don't know how to, I'm sorry?
Funding.
Do you think road and bridge thing is a good
Yeah,
idea?
I was gonna say it's a negative, so.
So we're
we
okay, but you
could-
remember how we did it. We said, we're not gonna fund these, so if we get an excellent grade A blade operator that comes in, which is one of our empty ones,
Right.
in January, we're gonna hire him,
Yeah.
and it's gonna come out of contingency.
Yeah.
But for now, we're gonna take the 127 negative. All right, so
Okay.
that's 2. Then we have all the, again, 669,000 in reclassifications. We can go over those again if you want. And
For the
Nina's,
reclassifications, I think some of them might need to be reviewed a little bit more by y'all and discussed.
So can we start on that, or is the day too long?
yeah, you'll notice the constables is in there. I don't know if y'all wanna, you can pick and choose in this list and agree which ones to do, and we can do further analysis on this and do it, I mean, we have it position by position.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that every deputy needs to make the exact same amount.
So we can pull that out. We
Yeah.
can pull them out.
And
Okay, so
Trevor-
we've got JP 1, 2, and 3, and they're all uniform based
That's-
on the JP's.
That's the elected
salary
official
adjustments.
salary increase.
Should we go ahead and assume that for JP4 or, and put it in there?
And that's a good question. That
Because,
is,
I mean, we don't
Commissioners
have the
Court has
request or the
traditionally,
input. We haven't had
yes.
any input from the JP4.
Yeah.
But
my
I've had
thought
people
would be
ask me,
is
why
we
do they all
probably
have to
ought
make the
keep a
same?
pretty level playing
Say
field.
that again?
I've had people in those positions ask me why they all have to make the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the other thing is, they want to be up where the commissioners are, and with their 7.5% raise for what they're doing, what they have now, they'll be within a couple of $100 of the commissioners, and so I would remove the JP's salary request.
So what about the constables? I heard
Same
one,
thing.
Same thing with the constables.
and this is just mine. Wait, no, she said deputies too.
Yeah, well, they were asking for all deputies countywide to make the same.
As
Okay.
well as their clerk reclassifications going from clerk to administrative secretaries.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the clerk becoming administrative assistant,
But it's an
A one.
increase.
So like Constable 1, 47,277 is a total of, wait, let's just look at it. She's getting there. I have it over there too, but I can't see it. Anyway, I know. I wish I could make this bigger. Anyway, so we'll bring that back, okay? And ask, what we'll do is break this down to see but I'm gonna go ahead and take it out for now, so that maybe we can get something prioritized, right?
Okay,
Okay? So if you take that out,
For the clerk sections, 13,000
what, on constable one?
on the constable.
So of the 47,000, okay, let's do this. So Nina's saying for this 47,000, 13,000 in each one of these is to reclassify their clerks from clerks to administrative assistants.
yeah.
This is in the constable positions?
Yes, all 4 constables.
Okay.
So why is there such a disparity from 47 in one and
72
two
and
is
4,
67?
Number of deputies.
number of deputies.
They
Oh,
all have different amount of
okay, the
positions.
number of
Yes, ma'am.
deputies.
Although this one's different than that one, and aren't they close to the same in number of deputies? 3 and
2
1?
2 and 4 are close to the deputies, but then some of the clerks are making different amounts because of group and step merits, and so the highest
Yeah.
one is about 13,000 difference. Going back to the clerk's administrative assistants, we're getting to where everybody wants to be called administrative assistants. I
I
get the pay.
noticed that.
I mean, it's not, I can't judge or recommend what to do, but along with that extra title, or bigger title, always comes with more increases. I asked HR to kind of look at what are the difference between job duties of a clerk and administrative assistants, and there are quite a bit of difference.
How many steps difference? Or,
Well, administrative assistants / secretaries we have them making from 38,000 to almost 90,000,
90?
or budgeted. Actuals, I'm not able to see actuals, but budgeted on the budget portion.
Uh-huh.
So there's not a one. Some of them are called secretaries, some of them are called administrative assistants, some are administrative secretaries.
I think we're gonna have to
And I
look
hesitate
at
to take that on this
closer.
year. We flat don't have time. Nina and I've talked about that. It's something that we need to review.
I'm not
Across the
desiring
board.
any increase whatsoever.
See, I'm
But
trying to
it's
get
the
something
time.
prioritized.
Yes.
So what we'll do.
this may be a minutia question, but is there a way to get those clerks up 2 steps for their salary increase and not reclassify them?
Not without more merit. I mean, without y'all, I mean, we can, yes.
I mean, we could do that so that they would get a salary increase
So do you want?
Stay in the
It would be
clerk.
better to break this down
by
position.
precinct.
Well, and honestly, by position, and y'all decide that way.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
can,
that's
you
what
see
I was
I'm saying?
thinking.
Yeah.
If we could
Are we
group
okay
them by
with-
position
Yeah.
rather than.
And I'm not opposed for us putting in another workshop day for budget because, you know.
Yeah, it'll have to be the beginning of August. It's just, I'm
Yeah,
trying.
we're running out of time, so if we could, you know, we have one next week, maybe next week on Thursday in the afternoon or something like that, we could do another budget workshop so that we have some more time to discuss.
Yeah, I was
it.
just trying to pick out things that were close to the same and group them.
Yeah.
And we can pull constables out and review just them by themselves.
Facility services.
Yeah, I
Facility
think we're gonna
services,
have
he
to-
wanted a title change due to not being able to find a painter. And that's where that is coming. That 13,000 is reclassifying one of his general maintenance, creating a painter
Mhm.
with a little bit of an increase to match what the industry's matching. The other one's a title
Yeah.
change, so there's no increase, but this is
Yeah,
one
I don't
that-
have a problem with the painter,
With what?
with the reclassification of facilities for the painter.
Expo has got 2 pieces. One is delete position to create position, and the other one is a salary increase.
Yeah.
I concur with both of those. I think Expo's doing a good job out there, and that's a pretty minor amount.
Well, now there's one that I'm not sure we need to.
We can pull Expo out too and talk
Yeah,
about
I
it more.
think we should
There was a mention of
look at it
some
individually.
structure,
Yeah.
I think.
And we might
that
want to
there
look
might
at
be
that in
some agreement
executive.
on that now,
Yeah,
I'm not
we'll
sure.
look at it maybe in an executive
Session.
session.
Do we want to, is the 56, isn't the 56 deleting the temps and moving them to part-time? Expo C43 and C52. I think it is. No.
I don't
no,
have
no,
a
no.
problem with the Brazos Center reclassification.
Okay. Y'all, if somebody says they don't have a problem, somebody has to speak up and say they do.
Oh, with the Brazos Center?
Yeah, if you know, I'm
Okay,
kind of,
well, let's look
I'm only
at it.
hearing one person, but that silence gives me some direction.
Let's
So,
let's look at it closer. I think it, it's.
That's
it
the
warrants that.
reclassification
It's
from
important.
2 positions from custodians to building event. Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
All right, Expo. This 5618 is C43 on the purple tab, Expo.
I think-
C43.
I think maybe we look at the expo and executive.
Well,
Yeah.
we're checking.
This is the deleting the senior meeting.
Okay, that one. We'll wait on that one. Well, do you want me to go ahead and take, what's the salary? Let me go ahead and take these 2 out, because both of those seem to be something that needs further discussion. Is that what I'm
Yeah.
hearing?
They're all
Okay.
typed.
Yes.
Okay. We want to go ahead and take the courthouse security reclassification. It's a negative.
That's fine.
Tax office, delete to create for negative.
Yeah.
County attorney, we'd already talked about taking that one.
Yes.
District attorney salary increases for an investigator.
Yeah.
It's not for all investigators, so that tells me that one is either not close to the other ones. Is that what it was? Do
Let's
you
look
remember?
at that one.
Can we look at
Okay.
it?
Sure.
Later.
Yeah.
Later,
rather than
or-
just making a.
Oh, that was investigator. He wanted to increase the investigator to make a little bit higher.
Was he putting him in a supervisor position, or was he?
And I
He
think
wanted to
we.
make it the same as the others.
Okay, so he's bringing up one investigator up to the others
Yeah,
on
that's-
this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
But we have merit too.
But yeah, there's a merit to do that too.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's the veteran service increase that we talked
I
about.
think
Yeah,
we
veteran
agreed on
service.
veterans.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to, so do we leave this one in or no?
Which one?
District
The
attorney.
District attorney.
Because he hasn't, I mean, he's got a big office to spread merit around. He can only do, well, they're NAs, so only 2.5%. That's the only reason why I bring that up. Just reminding you.
I'd like to look at district attorney later.
Okay.
Executive.
I hear one district attorney later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So can we prioritize this as number 3? This whole section?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
And we can change them, you know that. All right, so now we have reducing positions to create additional positions. We have elections administrator, which we've talked about that one. Human resources and expo. This is the delete temp to create part-time. I tried to pull this out when he was here to explain that the expo's kind of a convoluted number. Do we want to make this priority 4, or do we want to, I mean, how important is this compared to the other reclassifications?
Yeah, I think elections administrator definitely needs to have.
I mean, the elections administrator seems to be a win overall.
Yeah. And human.
And it might help them reduce their comp time balances
Yeah.
some too.
Human
Maybe.
resources is overworked with, I mean, Oracle keeps changing every day.
We wanna.
And we can talk about that too. Something other to consider is a contract
We wanna
for Oracle.
act on human resources. I
Yeah.
think we're comfortable with that number.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we keep going.
Well, hold on just a second on the expo, because I think those are temp positions and are trying to need,
Yes.
I think they'd be more appropriately called part-time. That's the reason
Yes.
that probably
Well,
does need to
and
change.
that's why we said we would look at them a little closer, I think.
Well, no, this is the temp
Oh, that's
to
the
part-time.
temp.
The other
to
ones we
part-time.
took out and we'll look at closer, which is a
Well,
salary
the temp
increase.
to part-time, I think we agree on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's in this
Well,
number. So that's
okay.
priority 4.
Yes.
Sorry, talking a lot. All right. Here's your guardianship probate court. Net effect of adding a assistant, 73,000 total. Now, these include benefits. desk, chair, any peripherals, computers,
And that's
scanners, that
the-
includes all that, so.
That's the administrative assistant she wants.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
now here we go, is the
Guardianships, I
district
mean-
attorney a higher priority than the associate, or, yeah, the assistant in probate guardianship? I know,
I,
both justice.
yeah, but
I'm okay with the district attorney. I mean, Jarvis works so hard and they do such a great job. Yeah, I'm okay with
He's not-
the DA.
he's not, how, is he, I didn't, oh,
The
he
368.
is adding,
Yeah, this is just to take over the grants.
yeah,
That's to take over the grants.
yeah.
This is
I
not
would
us
go-
other stuff.
Yeah,
Can we
right,
talk about
okay.
that in executive session, please? I've
We
got an
probably
opinion on
could, but I'm,
Yeah.
at the present time, I'm in favor of him,
Yeah,
of us.
I don't know that it qualifies for executive session.
Yes.
not the grant positions.
No, because it's positions, not one position. Legal, going once, going
I
twice.
I believe
We
it
can
would
ask.
not be the
Ed-
position.
Ed
we're
is
talking
in the
about,
back
it'd
of
be
the room.
people in the
Ed.
position.
Ed,
I'm talking about this one up here.
Oh,
help
this
me.
one.
He's going,
Just
Ted
take
Gummit,
the
I've been
grant.
trying
The
to have.
general fund.
To the general fund. Yeah, we gotta, that's assuming that the grants aren't gonna be there.
Do you know of
So
an
I thought
executive
you said
session
earlier that
exception
if
that
we-
would
if
allow
a
us
grant falls
to
off, that we
talk
look
about
at
uh,
the program is necessary,
three
then it
positions
is.
without naming, I
We
mean,
would
just
still-
in the DA's office?
Right. We would still have to fund it if the grant falls off.
Yeah.
That's why
Okay,
I'm saying
so-
put it in.
Okay.
It says we
I mean,
can talk
that's-
about it in executive.
That's my thinking.
It's like, do we want the program to go away?
Right.
Yeah,
But is that by, if we plug this in, would that be where we supplant a grant?
Not until you adopt a budget.
Huh?
Not until you adopt a budget. I
Well,
don't know when the,
but if
I
we
don't know when
plug
the
it in there,
grant.
and that's what we're moving forward with, so do we need to pull those
54,000
grant
out.
positions back out?
We can pull 54,000 out.
And then it's,
Because
If-
is he getting the victims at all?
It will cover the crimes against women grant for only
Crimes.
one position, and we looked at the investigator.
But what about the victims assistance
So
coordinator?
you're asking, how do we keep
If-
that
if we take
conditional
it-
We'll
on grant
verify,
approval?
but-
If we take it out
Yeah.
now, and they don't get the grant, we can put it back in? If we just
Yes.
put the positions in without funding?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay,
we
that's
can
what
do
I
that.
would
Wants
recommend.
to
Well,
plan that.
without funding?
Yeah, well, then if they get the grant funds,
We can
they can
increase
use them. If
contingency.
we fund the position, they get grant funds, we can't use the money.
I would recommend at least moving over, there's total 3 positions. One grant has 2 positions, one
Yeah.
grant has 1
That's-
position.
That's what you had
So
talked
we need
about
the
earlier
investigator
on how to
as
handle that,
unfunded.
so we did have the flexibility.
So I would recommend maybe moving, we know that one grant's coming in, and I think it's the crimes against women, but we'll double check. And that covers 2 positions. The one that he would,
Funding is only gonna cover
one, what
Not
I
even fully
best would recommend is to cover the investigator,
Mhm.
because then the attorney can float around the DA's office and not be so specific to the crimes against women. The investigator can, because it could target one subject. And leave that one on the grant side. If we receive the 54,000 or above, great, because we're still gonna have to transfer money to cover for salary benefits just for that one position. And have the county absorb the other 2.
I'll follow that.
Yeah,
3
Yeah, I'm
positions
just-
up,
Uh-huh.
absorb
I'm just-
2,
Yeah.
keep 1 as grant funded.
Which
Yeah.
of the 2 we're absorbing though?
Victims assistance coordinator
Coordinator.
and the attorney.
Yes.
The investigator.
The
Investigator
grant
in the
side.
VACA.
No. Yes,
Okay.
the investigator in the VACA is the one that would be grant. Half grant, half county,
Yes.
if we get the grant.
May I recommend at our next workshop, you all let us see where we are.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, all the breakdowns.
Okay,
and-
so what you're saying is to move one of the positions to general fund.
No, 2, there's 3 positions.
Okay,
Move 2, the
Right.
attorney and the victim assistance coordinator to the
Okay.
general fund.
okay.
Okay.
Leave the investigator in the grant fund although if we get $54,000 for the grant, it's not enough for the investigator.
Okay.
It's some of it.
Some, okay.
And we can use contingency for that.
So-
Okay, I was just curious as to which two positions we're moving, so now I'm clear.
So you
Administrator
basically
and,
take 54,000 out of his 368,
Yeah.
and that's where you're gonna be.
Right, okay.
Okay, so is that more of a priority?
Yep.
Yeah,
Then the
just
court?
which
Yes.
of the,
Yes.
which of the
Yes.
two, yeah, and thank you for pointing out the contingency that we needed to leave the position over there to where conditional upon getting the grant.
Okay, so now we get to additional positions and technically a new position in the associate.
Yep.
I mean, in guardianship and probate.
Yep.
Okay, so in a way, this is a new position, so it can be as competitive as these as you want. Do we have a priority here? Y'all had already,
Yeah, veteran services, we want to do that.
yeah.
all right. Now you'll notice that budget office is, okay, Nina and I have been talking about this. I don't know what y'all want to do. We have 2 positions in the budget office right now. Based on whatever you decide, we honestly, we think we should stick with 2 for next year.
Yes.
Until we make some structural decisions, we think we should stick with 2.
I think so
So
too.
you're
But
saying
one of
you'll,
those two is open.
Yes,
Yeah.
currently funded, no addition to the budget.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're talking about striking
I'm,
that one.
I'm putting it at priority Z.
Okay.
So I can keep track while y'all talk. Information technology, 4 positions. A systems analyst, a senior services person, a project manager, and what's the 4th one? I can't remember. Oh yeah, assistant
Yeah.
director.
Yeah, I'm only in favor of 2 for IT.
Do you know which
And
ones?
Which were the
Just
2
two.
positions? He gave us priorities.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you want to
Why
just do his
two?
top type 2 priorities?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna throw this out here. It's none of my business, I get it, but in a
But
way it
go
kind of
ahead.
is. Oracle, we have the potential to get a contract to go that will assist us in evaluating every quarterly update, which is what's giving us fits now in some
Yeah.
ways. They keep up. Apparently, they was never intended for comp time.
Okay.
Anyway, to help us test quarterly updates and give us 5 tickets a month, which I'm hoping Charles will negotiate that up to 7 to 10, for $200,000 a year. If we did that, we could probably repurpose 2 positions. They have 5, systems analyst and then 4 app admins for Oracle. We've got, it's a risk. I've always, again, get out the dice. I don't know. We've worked with High Street on the GovSense integration, and they helped us get through that, and they did a great job. But that's on the financial side, not on the human resource side. They did her EE, so we're taking a risk with the contractor in some ways.
Yeah.
It's a contract through, they're called PMCS, and they're with DIR, Department of Information Resources. I have my staff currently getting a list together of things that we could use some help on, getting through how Oracle works. But again, we don't start, it's an $80,000 statement of work to fix how many protected leaves, which is military, if we're not having FMLA, ADA, sick leave pool, work through some of those problems. The good thing about a contract, they have experience with Oracle. We don't. Not really. Even our app admins, I don't know that they have a lot of experience with Oracle. But I also don't know that they could be repurposed either, because from what I can, if you think about it, an app admin converting to a systems analyst, I don't know that that works. I think it's different skill sets. Whereas, I might have an auditor that I can convert to a grant person. The skill sets are still, you have to do a lot of reading, but
Yeah.
more the same than maybe those. So maybe we should What were his two priorities, top two priorities?
Senior services manager and systems analyst. And then the third one was project manager, and the fourth one was recommendation from
I really think we
the
should.
judge and the chief of staff for assistant IT director.
His
So they
first
have
two
redundancy.
priorities.
Or
Unfortunately.
not redundancy, so they would have, what's the word I'm looking for?
Backup or
Well,
policies, procedures.
what happens?
Succession planning?
Thank
Yeah.
you. You knew exactly what I meant.
Well, in that one, maybe we could plug the position in unfunded so that it doesn't, because I don't know that we're ready to add on or do anything with that right now. I
Especially-
think it's a good idea, and I think that's the direction we need to be looking at, but as far as funding a position
We
for
might
it
not
right
be able
now,
to
I
fill.
just,
Well, and then the other consideration is if we go into a stagflation or a recession, that tops us, I mean, that was dead. Appraisals don't go up, you know, we want to be careful with that. I don't know what's going to happen. There's somebody on the court that's much more knowledgeable than I am on that, but I would think, again, we want to fill the positions that we have maybe before we create new. And we've already set that priority, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Try to do
So in
that.
IT, I think we're talking about the systems analyst and the project manager?
No, I
No, the
think we're
senior
talking about the
services
senior
manager.
services manager and the systems
I'm
analyst.
sorry, I thought that was what Judge.
no, the fourth on the list
Fourth one was
was.
the one you were saying.
Yeah,
Is the IT director.
Okay.
right.
Well, and the
Assistant
systems
IT
analyst
director.
is the
We
one
don't need
that
that
helps
one.
us a lot with Oracle. I'll give my,
So,
just
so
from
you're saying two of
working
those,
with them as
Commissioner
systems
Barry?
analyst, I could see
Yeah.
another one.
I'd say three.
Which-
I think it's three. The project manager,